Greetings, TVR2A. This is a walkthrough video of Pro Tools Lab number 6. This is edit exercise number 3, also known as the Comedy 3 commercial. This is being done on a PC laptop running Windows 10, and I'll be using the free version of Pro Tools, which is called Pro Tools Intro. All right, so let's go ahead and begin. First, you'll need to get into Canvas and you'll go to the week 5, and you'll see there an assignment that says Pro Tools Lab 6, Pro Tools Edit number 3, Comedy, also known as Comedy 3, or also the Comedy 3 commercial. What you're going to need for this particular lab is this downloadable zip file, which is going to contain some audio files that you'll need to import into Pro Tools. And then it's also going to contain a PDF version of the instructions, which are about 3 pages long. The third page of the instructions is the actual layout of the commercial, so it shows the script and it talks about who's saying what. So make sure you do have that visible because you will need to compare that to your edit. By the time you're finished, you will do the bounce mix. You'll submit that to Canvas along with answering questions, of which there are approximately 5 questions. And you'll do that as a comment. Very good. Let's go ahead and launch Pro Tools. I've already downloaded my instructions, so that's done. But let's go ahead and download the zip file. This contains the audio file needed for this particular project. So let's click to the right of the file name. All right, it just downloaded into my browser. I'll go ahead and click on the folder. And what we're going to do is find it, which is called Pro Tools Edit 3 Files. And we'll go ahead and just double click on it. Now, once we've done that, we'll get a new folder that says Pro Tools Edit 3, and it says the word Files. And you're going to drag that into your Documents directory. Once it's in the Documents directory, we'll go ahead and locate it, and we're going to drag it now into the TVR2A Sessions folder. And now it is here. Now, this is just audio files. So if I open it, you're going to see that I just have something called Comedy 3, which is a mono audio track. And then I've got something called Music Bed Music, which is a stereo audio. So we'll need to import both of those into our Pro Tools session. Also, while I'm here, notice on the older assignments that we've done, the labs, that anytime we create the session, it automatically creates like our main folder for the session. So for example, remember this one was from last lab. And if we open it, we're going to find the Pro Tools file, which is here. That actually has an extension of .ptx. It doesn't contain any audio information, it just points to where it's located. And then I have a session backups folder. This will contain backups to my work that Pro Tools is automatically creating, kind of on a random schedule. And then I have a bounce files folder. That folder is where all the bounce mix goes. And then most importantly, I do have an audio files folder. And so if I open this, this is all of the audio that's required in order for my Pro Tools session to play back the audio. So if it's not in this folder and Pro Tools doesn't know where it is, it's going to come up as blank tracks. So remember, all of the audio for our Pro Tools sessions are always stored into the audio files folder, and that's a subfolder that Pro Tools generates once you create the brand new session. Okay, so it's something to keep in mind. All right, so I've moved everything. I remember that this is the folder that has the audio I need, and then I think I'm ready to go ahead and launch Pro Tools. Let's go ahead and launch Pro Tools. All right, I have launched Pro Tools and it has brought me to the create a new session dialog box. So here on the left, make sure the column says the word new. And at the top, make sure the tab we're looking at says the word session. All right, so on step number 2, it says from the dashboard, choose new, name the session with your name and then the word commercial. So I'll go ahead and call mine Jeff Dunbar commercial. And then down here, make sure it still says that it's going to our documents folder. File type is WAV, sample rate 44.1 kilohertz, bit depth 16-bit, and I/O settings, go ahead and choose stereo mix. Also check mark the word interleave below the 16-bit option. And now you can click on the lower right-hand corner, the word create. All right, so here I am in Pro Tools. It has brought me to the edit window. Remember, if you don't see this and it just brings you to a blank screen, verify that you're in Pro Tools, which is upper left-hand corner. You should see the word Pro Tools. And then go ahead and click Control equals, and that should bring a window back to the screen. All right, so always double check your playback engine. So go to Setup menu, choose Playback Engine. And again, we're not doing any recording for this lab, so the input device does not matter. But the output device is the only way we're going to hear it. So mine is my headphones, which is a Sennheiser USB headset. Yours could be speakers or headphone or whatever you like. But just make sure whatever it is that it's actually working. And then you can click OK in the right-hand corner. Step 3 says import the 2 audio files from that unzip folder. Make sure you copy all and then import, and then click open when you see Pro Tools import question, and then click to new tracks button. Let's go through that. So we'll go up to our file menu in the upper left-hand corner. We'll scroll down to the word import, and then we'll choose audio. Once I've chosen audio, I need to go locate where my audio files were being copied, right? And remember that first step, we unzipped it and then we placed it into the TVR2A session. So let's go locate that. So it's on my documents, Pro Tools TVR2A sessions. I'm doing a double click. And then there's a folder that says Pro Tools Edit 3 files. I'm going to double click there. And now I see the 2 files that I need, which is Comedy 3 and then Music Bed Music. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose them both by clicking once on Comedy 3, hold the Shift key, and then click on Music Bed Music. And let go of the Shift key. And now down here you can choose the word Copy Files. So you choose Copy Files. It will place it over here on the import method. And then here at the bottom, you can go ahead and click Done. Now it asks you where you're going to put that audio. Now in the lower left-hand corner, you'll choose Use Current Folder. And then here for audio import options, you'll use Destination New Track. Now you'll see 2 new audio tracks get placed into this edit window. One is a mono track. This one says Comedy 301. And then one is a stereo track, left side, right side, and that's our music bed right here. Now we're zoomed in a little bit, or I should say, we're zoomed out too far. So I do want to zoom in, and what I'll do is letter T, and I'll just do that a couple times here. All right, so now I'm looking at seconds here in the time. All right, now step 4 says add 1 additional mono audio track and name the tracks announcer, drops, effects, and music. Music bed is the stereo track. So I do need to add another audio track. So in essence, we'll have 3. Let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go to the track menu, the top, and we'll choose new. There's also a shortcut Control Shift in if you'd like to try that out. It's asking what type of track, and in the instructions it says mono audio track. So it says create one new mono audio track, and then I'll leave the name alone because we will come back and name everything. Let's click create. All right, now some housekeeping things. I'm going to drag the music bed track to the bottom. Got to click right on the name. There you go. I am going to enlarge these just a little bit so I can see a little bit better. And now I'm going to rename these 3 tracks. So I have this track in the first location, which by default it said Comedy 3. You're going to double click right on the word Comedy 3, and you're going to type in announcer. That's going to be our announcer track. And click OK. Now the second track, which is also a mono track, it says audio 1. We're going to double click on this one, and we're going to call this drops, D-R-O-P-S, effects. So this is a track that we will use for anything that is not the announcer. So there'll be a telephone ring, there'll be some extraneous people speaking. We'll put those there. Click OK. And then the bottom one just needs to say music. It doesn't need to say music bed music. So we'll go ahead and just rename this to music. Now it looks something like this. Now I do want to do control equals because I want to get to this mixer and I want to verify that the output is current. It says speakers 1-2. Okay, that should be good. Remember, if you don't hear audio, it's always going to be related to the output, and that output is related to your playback engine. They all should be the same also when you look at them. They should all say the same output. Input doesn't matter because we're not recording in. All right, so now we need to go ahead and go through step 5 that says you will now split the audio into appropriate sections using the shortcut B or any other means. Rename each subsequent clip by double-clicking with grabber tool, and I'll talk us through that too. So basically what we've been given here is a audio file that has announcer, but it also has like secondary announcer. It has a guest guy, funny guy, and then it even has a telephone ring. You can see if we scroll, we could see how there's little gaps. So in essence, each of these gaps is going to be a new piece of audio or a new clip. And then the bottom, we just have this music. The music bed plays during the whole commercial. So what I'm going to do for the moment is temporarily mute the music track with the letter M, and that's on the music track underneath the music title. And now I'm going to go ahead and go into slip mode, upper left-hand corner. And I'm going to make sure that I am in Smart Tool mode, which is this upper bracket, so that all 3, and that's trimmer, selector, grabber, all of those are active and they're ready for me to use. Also, I'm looking at the PDF file because there is a script, and it does say that it first starts with the telephone ring and the music kicks in, and then the male announcer says this line, Comedy 3, and he ends his line with zing your obnoxious CEO with. So I need to find that section and go ahead and make the break. So I'm going to start right here and listen along.
Comedy 3, the all-new party joke hotline. Looking for a new joke to tell at the office water cooler? How about a one-liner to zing your obnoxious CEO with? Call us.
All right, so right when he says zing your obnoxious CEO with, that's the end of his first phrase. So I went ahead and put my cursor right here. I'm going to do letter B. And that's, you're not pressing any other keys, just the letter B. And that'll go ahead and create a break of that clip. Okay. And now the second bit is him saying this part.
Call us at 866-COMEDY-3 and load up on snappy answers for stupid people.
And that's his second phrase that he's going to mention towards the latter part of the commercial. So I can go ahead and also do that break there too. So that's letter B. And then I have another one here. Let's go ahead and hit the space bar.
These people really cracked me up and helped me out on my creativity as I visualize their jokes.
All right, so that's the funny man. So I'm going to go ahead and place my cursor here, do letter B, also do letter B here. And so that's funny man. While I'm thinking about it, I should rename these because I don't want to move too far ahead and then I haven't renamed them. So let's go ahead and go back here to the announcer. And what you're going to do is move the cursor down below so that it turns into the grabber, which is the hand. And you're going to double click. We're going to call that first little chunk there announcer part 1. And then notice upper left hand corner, just change the name of the clip. We're going to do the same thing to this little chunk. This is announcer part 2. Upper left hand corner change. This is just nothing. I can go ahead and delete this. I'll just use backspace. And then this is going to be the funny man. I like to call him the funny man because he's sort of a jokester. So I'm going to call that funny man part 1 because I know he does come back with another line. So funny man part 1. And then let's go ahead and keep playing. More dead space. In fact, we'll go ahead and click the cursor. I'm using kind of towards the top of the clip, and that gives me the selector. I'll do B, and then I can click with grabber and delete that too.
You know, it's intense stuff, dude.
All right, that's the funny man again. So we'll go ahead and do a B here. Double click, and we'll call this funny man part 2. And then I have a long section here. We'll do letter B because obviously we know that's silence.
Call us now at 866-COMEDY-3.
That's 866-COMEDY-3.
All right, so there's our female announcer. So we'll go ahead and do break there. We're going to go ahead and call this female announcer. And then more dead space. Let's get rid of it. I'm using backspace. And I have the last little piece, which is this. So there's a telephone ring. I'm going to cursor here, letter B, get rid of this section. So now what I'm left with is, one. Well, we got to get rid of this too, this dead space. All right, so now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I have 6 chunks there, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 6 pieces, and then I have my music bed here at the bottom. So everything has been cut and split. And now I'm ready to go ahead and organize this into the script order. And so on the third page of the instructions, it does say phone ring. So that means the very first thing that happens is the phone. And then right after the phone ring, the music will kick in. So let's go ahead and go locate that phone. I know it's towards the end. Oh, we didn't name it. So let's double click with the grabber. And this is phone. And we're going to drag it down. And what I'm going to do is just drag it all the way to the beginning. So it's right about here. All right. Now I am going to do letter T and chop off a little bit more. So I zoom in like that. And letter R is my zoom out.
Comedy 3.
Nice. So it opens with the telephone ring. That's the first thing we hear. And then as that telephone is ringing, I do want the music to kick in. Now, this is a 30-second commercial, so I do want to sort of back time my music. So I'm going to go to the 30-second location here, which is right about here. Notice I have this little space, so I am going to drag my music so that the last little bit of the music hits right about at the end of that commercial. And I'm just using the grabber to slide it around. And again, I'm in the slip mode. That's pretty close right there. Also, while I'm looking at it, there is dead space here with the music. Now this one, I'll just use the trimmer and I'll just trim it out. Enter key. Now I have the music kicking in right here. And I'm going to activate the music by clicking letter M, so it's no longer being muted. And let's hear what the timing is like now.
Party Joke Hotline. Looking for a new joke to tell at the office water cooler? How about a one-liner to zing your obnoxious CEO with?
I actually kind of like what I've done. It was sort of happenstance. So I have the music coming in right about here. That's about 1 second. Then the announcer comes in a little after 2 seconds. I thought it felt like it was appropriate. But we do need to go ahead and start to drag some other things around. So after he says, zing your obnoxious CEO with, we're supposed to hear the funny man. He says, these people really crack me up and help me out. And that's this one, right? And that's this one way over here, actually. So let's go ahead and drag him down to the drops track. Let's get this over here. And then I'm just listening for this transition as it goes from here into this line.
People really crack me up and help me out in my creativity as I visualize their jokes.
Call us at 866.
All right, that's pretty good too. Now, I did notice this is a little bit quiet, right? This part. And you can see from the waveform, it's even quieter than this one. So I'll go ahead and do a little clip gain move, which is lower left-hand corner. I'm going to click and hold with the mouse, and I'm just going to bump it up. Let's go about maybe, that's 6. Let's go 6 dB. And then let's see if it's any closer in volume.
These people really crack me up and help me out in my creativity as I
Yeah, that's better, isn't it? So I like that transition. And don't worry, right now the music is too loud. We are going to automate the volume down on the music track. But for now, you can just deal with it, or you can even shut it off. It's up to you. But I do need to get the next little transition where it's going to go from funny man back to the male announcer, which is this guy. Let's hear that little transition.
joke.
That's a little too, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to do letter T to zoom in.
Joke.
I'm still going to get even a little closer.
Their joke.
Call us at 866 Comedy 3.
Nice. Now, I do have another part of this script where it actually says, call us at, and then it says in parentheses, underscore with the telephone ring again. So we've already used the telephone ring once. That actually means we're going to need to make a copy of it. So I'm going to highlight it, and that's just clicking once with grabber. And I can go ahead and do Control C. And then let's go to where I think I'm going to put it, which is around here, and do Control V. So I just copy and pasted another telephone ring. Let's see how close I got it.
Call us at 866.
So right after he says call us at, that's when we want to hear the telephone ring.
Call us at 866 Comedy 3 and load up on
That's pretty good. I actually like that. The timing is pretty nice, isn't it?
Call us at 866 Comedy 3.
It's, you know what, I think, personally, I think the telephone here is a little long. So let's see if I just shorten this. Let's see, like, if that gives us a better feel here.
Their joke.
Call us at 866 Comedy 3 and load up.
I think that's better. So it's shorter. It doesn't cover up so much of the words. So I like that placement too.
Call us at 866 Comedy 3 and
Maybe even just a little bit shorter. Let's try that.
Joke.
call us at 866 Comedy 3 and load
Yeah, I like that little. Nice. Okay, after he says this line, which is, he says, snappy answers for stupid people. Now we're going to have the female announcer come in, and she says, call us now at 866. So let's go ahead and locate where she's way over here. And let's go ahead and put her. Let me see if I can keep her on the announcer track.
Call us now at 866 Comedy 3.
All right, so this is an interesting dilemma because I don't know if I want to keep it on the main announcer because she's more of like an extra element. So I almost think I'm going to put the female announcer down onto the drops track.
Call us now.
And then let's tighten that up a little bit.
Call us now.
And then we can get rid of these little dead spaces.
Call us now at 866 Comedy 3.
That's 866
So far, so good. And then the funny man comes back in, and he's like around here.
Comedy 3. You know, that's stuff.
Well, that's shaping up pretty nice, isn't it? So I'm just doing a little trim here. And now if I look at the whole commercial, I'm going to do letter R so I can see the whole thing. This is looking pretty good. So you can see it has main announcer. Oh, it has the funny man. That's interesting. I actually want the funny man to come down onto that track too, to be consistent. You can see it covered it up a little bit. Let's see how close I can get him. And I'm going to do letter T to get in a little closer. And I'm going to keep. I like that. Also, remember my technique is for the funny man, I did boost him +6. So I also am going to boost the female a little bit. You can see it's a little bit smaller. So let's go ahead and click and drag that up. It doesn't take quite as much. And then let's go to the other funny man and boost him back up to about, he's actually a little louder there, isn't he? That's interesting. Yeah, he was already pretty strong. He didn't need as much boost. I'll hold the Alt key and I can click that and it'll go right back to 0. Let's hear how the volumes are.
Call us now at 866 Comedy 3.
That's 866 Comedy 3. You know, it's
Nice. All right, this is taking shape. So now I'm going to do the zoom out with letter R. And the last few things is to go ahead and just work a little bit with this music track. So we're going to need to open up the automation lane for the music. And the automation lane is going to pop up if we go to the lower left-hand corner of the music track. You'll see a little square with like an italic, like a diagonal line. You're going to single click. And that's going to show a solid line going all the way through, which is the volume fader. So wherever your fader is at on your mixer, so wherever this fader is here, 0, that's where that line is. So if I was to lower this, you see that line just got reduced. So wherever this is at, that blue line is also there too. I'll hold Alt key and click, and that will reset it back to like the default value. So the idea here is the music is strong, but then as soon as we hear the dialogue, the music needs to drop down just a bit. So let's go ahead and figure out where we're going to drop it down.
Comedy 3, the all-new.
So we're going to drop it down right when he says Comedy 3. And remember, this is holding Control key, and you're going to get a finger with the plus. And again, I'm in the Smart Tool mode. You're going to single click it. And then you're going to go to the right about 1/4 of an inch and do another single click. Again, I'm holding Control and I'm clicking with the mouse. I'm going to grab the second dot and let's go down to about 12 and see if that gives us a better volume.
Comedy 3, the all-new party joke hotline. Looking for
I think it's better, but I don't like the slope felt a little strange. Felt like it was a little too soon. So I'm going to click and I'm going to just drag that a little to the right so it's not, so it's a little bit later.
Comedy 3, the
Almost. I'm going to keep dragging it a little more to the right. Don't let it change numbers either. I'll grab this one and maybe just pull it like that. Let's hear how that sounds.
Comedy 3, the all-new.
I'm still working with it. Let's hear that.
Comedy 3,
That's
the
better.
all-new party joke hotline.
Yeah, so you see that fits a little bit better. So you can't really tell that the music drops down, but as soon as you start speaking, the music does reduce. So it's going to stay that level all the way until the end, and we'll just kind of bring it back up towards the end here. Let's go ahead and hear where we're at.
3. You know, it's intense stuff, dude.
So it's going to just rise as it comes to that little tiny hit. So I'm going to do Control key right about here and click, and then I'll do another Control key and click here. And I'm going to raise the second one back up to our 0. Remember, if you're not getting the decimals, if you hold Control key while you're dragging it, it'll just move in decimal points, because I'm trying to get it to 0 like this. And then let's hear what we got.
Comedy 3. You know, it's intense stuff, dude.
Interesting. I could almost slope it in a little sooner like this.
3. You know, it's intense stuff, dude.
I like that better. So as he says the word intense, the music is starting to get a little more intense in volume. And so if I zoom out, you can see what what it's starting to look like, or what it does look like, in fact. I have voice, announcer, I've got the drop sound effects, I have the music bed, and I have automation on the music bed. And that's really all you need to do. And then I'll go ahead and play this so you can go ahead and hear what the finished product is like, and you can compare it to yours. So I hit Enter key, and then there's no muted tracks, automation is working, and I'll press the space bar.
Comedy 3, the all-new party joke hotline. Looking for a new joke to tell at the office water cooler? How about a one-liner to zing your obnoxious CEO with?
These people really crack me up and help me out on my creativity as I visualize their jokes.
Call us at 866-COMEDY-3 and load up on snappy answers for stupid people.
Call us now at 866-COMEDY-3.
That's 866-Comedy 3. You know, it's intense stuff, dude.
Very good. So there's the commercial, and it's a 30-second commercial, in fact. All right, so the last few steps is you just need to bounce this mix and then upload it to Canvas and answer those questions. So remember, the first step for bouncing is obviously make sure you save this. So go ahead and do Control S. So there's your save. And I'm going to go ahead and go to the top where my ruler is, and I'm going to click in that little time ruler, and I'm going to drag it all the way to the beginning. So in essence, I've highlighted 30 seconds worth. Okay, so first you select the time that you want to bounce, and then let's go ahead and go to File menu. Let's choose Bounce Mix, and in here we're going to go ahead and let it call Jeff Dunbar commercial. It's an MP3. The mix source needs to be whatever the output is on your mixer page. So mine's speakers 1-2. File format is interleave. Bit depth can't be changed. Sample rate 44.1. And then it's going into the bounce files folder of the session folder. And then lower left-hand corner, make sure you have check mark for offline. And click bounce. This is MP3 tagger. We can ignore it and just click OK. You can see it just rendered and exported and bounced it. You can now do a Control Q to quit. Save. And now we just need to go verify the bounce file went into the documents folder. So let's go ahead and go locate it. So I'm going down here to the Windows, Documents, going to TVR2A Sessions. I'm going to Jeff Dunbar Commercial, because that's what we called this session. Double click. And then here you have the bounce files folder. Double click. And there I have the commercial, and that's the MP3. And let's see if I can play it.
Comedy 3, the all-new party joke hotline.
Good. So I've listened to it. I can hear the music is working. I hear the sound effects track is working. And I can hear that the main announcer is working. You'll want to listen to your whole thing to make sure that it sounds perfect and it doesn't chop off at the end. So that's the file that I need to submit to Canvas. All right, so now I'm ready to go ahead and start assignment. Click Start Assignment. Scroll back up towards the rocket ship. Then you're going to drag that MP3 right in there. You should see your file is here. You're going to click on Comment. And now you're going to answer those 5 questions from, you can see them right here. These 5, you can copy and paste them if you'd like. Once you've done that, you'll go ahead and click submit assignment. And then you got the confetti and you know your success. And that's it. Congratulations. I look forward to hearing your finished commercial. Take care.